Coming into the state legislature through the assembly, it was evident that education still needs to take place from within the halls of the legislature about who we truly are as California Indian people, about our songs and our history. And California Native American Day is celebrated on the fourth Friday in September. But in September, the legislature is already out. So this was a way in August, when we come back from our summer break, that we're able to have cultural activities. Today, you'll hear from those from the grounds that we stand on with the blessing acknowledgement. We also have cultural discussion and presentations from representing the whole state of California, from deep down Southern California, the Kumeyaay Ipai people with Stan Rodriguez. We have myself that's going to sing Serrano and Kuya songs and talk about the history. We also have from Tuolumne, Band of Miwok Indians, Carlos, that's going to talk about history there and share culture. And we also have with us from far up north, California, is Chairman Joe James, who will talk about the Yurok tribe, make remarks and songs. And this is all factual California Indian culture that we're talking about here today. And so it's an opportunity for us to be here, and I want to thank all my colleagues from the legislature that have took the time to be here with California's first people. We will now turn it over for the blessing and the land acknowledgement.
Little short Miwok here. Hey. Kujiyaatu lelechu. Majushutuka. Kujiyateka pak McCoy. Good evening to all my relations that are out there today. It's a good day, a beautiful day as we stand here today. Kuji, a wonderful day. Kaniyo Yatsit Mary Tarango, Kanila Kustut Wilton Rancheria, great-great-granddaughter of Alec Blue, great-granddaughter of Annie Blue McKean, grandmother Irene McKean Blue, and my father Alvin Daniels. Is how I descend in our people. So with that, I want to thank Assemblymember Ramos and all of his constituents here tonight in honoring us in this wonderful way to want to be a part and to want to hear the good things that we have to say and share. That is who we are as a people, and sharing our language and culture, and hoping that you take something away from that to know that you are a part as you are home here to us. So with that, Leila Chu, one above. You rose with us this morning as we are here tonight, and we thank you for allowing that. We thank you for our families, and we certainly thank you Kumu to all of the wonderful people that made it here today from the travels that they had. We thank you for their safe journey, and we pray for a safe journey home. Leila Chu, Creator, we ask that all those that are here today, not only those that are traditional tribal members, but those that are out there to understand and hear the music, hear the songs, feel it, not only with their minds, their ears, but with their hearts, and feel that oneness as we are a people and sharing all of the good things that we have. Leila Chu, protect us in all the good ways, and we thank you for all the goodness that you bring us today. The sunshine, Mother Earth, the good feel that we have, and help us to open up and listen and embrace all of the songs and the music and the words that are here today in a good way. So with that, Leila Chu, Creator, aho, thank you komotuk.
Jixis, Kachihima, Unamas, Thingikamul, Kanio Yase, John Tayaba, Unatu, Shingle Springs, Band of Miwok Indians. My great-grandmother, Nellie Cruz, she was born here off of 3rd Street here. So, you know, it's an honor to be up here and be a part of this. I want to explain what I'm gonna sing. Through culture, what I started, you know, we started culture on our res and the language, the cultural resource and language. And during my studies and stuff, we came across this song, the Eagle Song, and these two elders in there, and they talked about it, and we broke it down with Tachi Carlos here, and it talks about that eagle up there, and he's flying around, he's, you know, watching over us and stuff. So I want you guys to all feel that connection, because, you know, on these flags, these American flags, they have that eagle up there. That eagle because of that power. That's the same thing. So. Mahatana panahaya chohilimana. Mahatana panahaya chohilimana. Yo kemana yo kemana chohilima panahaya. Mahatana panahaya chohilimana. Mahatana panahaya chohilimana. Yo kemana yo kemana chohilima panahaya. Mahatana panahaya chohilimana. Mahatana panahaya chohilimana. Yo kemana yo kemana chohilima panahaya. Mahatana panahaya chohilimana. Mahatana panahaya chohilimana. Yo kemana yo kemana chohilima panahaya. So just think about that eagle up there flying around. You know, when we're blessed, when we get to see that eagle and we all feel good and that strength because he gave that to us, that medicine. So remember, when we all have that opportunity to see that eagle, remember that. And that he gets us through. Believe me, he does. Thank you.
Thank you, brother. Well, thank you. And now we're going to have the land acknowledgement, starting with Chairwoman Regina Cuellar.
Good evening, everybody. Sekasin, I am Regina Cuellar, chairwoman of the Shingle Springs Band of Miwok Indians, once known as the Sacramento Verona Band of Homeless Indians. It is an honor and privilege to be here with you all this evening and to welcome you to the homelands of my ancestors. Homelands that span 7 counties, including Sacramento, its river systems, and cultural landscapes that extend throughout the Delta and beyond. Because of our presence here and ancestral ties to this place, I offer this welcome to inform and emphasize that the land we stand on at this very moment is the unceded ancestral homelands of the Nisam Pawinan people. Our connection to this land and these rivers is sacred and timeless. My great-great-grandmother, Pamela, was born in the village of Pasuni, located not far from here at the confluence of the Sacramento and American rivers. Her spiritual presence can still be felt here, and her love of this land is carried within each of her descendants. We are all eternally grateful. Although once removed from these lands, our ties to it and the waterways could not be severed. Throughout time, we always found our way back to the villages of Nisam Pawinan, including Pusuni. Let us not forget the responsibility we have to honor and protect the landscape and the ancestors that were here before us, whether in human, plant, or animal form. We are all connected. Let us also acknowledge that this land has been a gathering place for many other tribes local to the surrounding area, each with their own special connections to the land. Let us celebrate the sacredness of these shared spaces, histories, and traditions while remembering with the deepest gratitude the elders and ancestors who came before us. Thank you.
Thank you for that beautiful land acknowledgement. My name is Stephen Hutchison. I'm Anishinaabe and Miwok descent, a member of a tribal citizen of Wilton Rancheria. I'm honored to read this land acknowledgement. The California Native American Legislative Caucus acknowledges the ancestral homelands of the Valley Nishnawbe, Southern Maidu, Plains Miwok, Patwin Wintun, and Wilton Rancheria peoples of the land on which we work today. Even further, we recognize that all Native American peoples have a deep connection to the land and have made significant contributions to the broader community throughout California, our country, and the world. We respectfully honor the land itself and that we continue to steward the land now and into the future. It is without a doubt very important to be inclusive and carry forward these traditional cultural teachings to reflect our commitment and relationships to the Native Americans in the state of California and across the nation. Thank you, Kamu. Thank you.
Well, thank you for the blessings and the land acknowledgement. Let's give them a round of applause there. We also want to make sure that we're acknowledging the tribal leaders that are here with us. From Samuel, we have the tribal chairperson, Lynn Valbuena. We also have from Chichansi, Chairwoman Janet Bill. Redding Rancheria, we have Chairman Jack Potter. Torres Martinez, Chairman Torres. Tuolumne Band of Miwok Indians Treasurer Lauren Ford. Where's he at there? Also from Yurok Tribe, Chairman Joe James. And the San Manuel Secretary Audrey Martinez. And San Manuel Council Member Lauren Bolden. Just give them a round of applause there. Did I miss anyone? Did I pronounce somebody's name wrong? Baldwin? What's that?
Uh-oh, you're James that way. Moortown, right here.
Moortown. Moortown's here. Yay. California Valley Miwok Tribe, Valley Tribal Council, a round of applause there. Who else? Just shout it out. But this represents California, who we are as Indian people. And when we talk about paving the way for others to be in seats, we do have on our staff a member of the Morongo Tribal Council, and his dad's with him here today, Brian Lugo from the Morongo Tribal Council. But we also have to acknowledge Jack Lugo, who works for our office, because today is his birthday, and he chose to be here amongst the people. And also, I want to recognize my colleagues in the legislature, the senators and assembly members that are here with us today. And we wouldn't be able to put this together if we didn't have the support of leadership for the California Native American Legislative Caucus, which the members that are here are part of that caucus. And it quickly grew to be one of the largest caucuses here in the state legislature of the California Native American Legislative Caucus. So give them a round of applause there. I want to recognize Assemblymember Matasucci, Assemblymember Liz Ortega, Assemblymember Corey Jackson, Assemblymember Blanca Pacheco, Assemblymember Don Addis, Assemblymember Ta, Assemblymember Lackey, Assemblymember Hart, and part of our select committee with us today is Assemblymember Devin Mathis. Also, this is a caucus that's made up of both parties, but also crosses over into the Senate. And here with me today has been a strong advocate for missing and murdered Indigenous women and different foster care for Indian people, and that's Senator Susan Rubio. And we also have with us Assemblymember Sharon Quirk Silva. And a good friend from our area also is Assemblymember Freddie Rodriguez. And also with us today, Assemblymember Jim Patterson. And my seatmate, Senator Avelino Valencia. And also from the Senate, Senator Alvarado Gil. And we know that we have a lineup of different speakers that are here. We do want to acknowledge the Speaker of the Assembly, Speaker Rivas, who will make his way to this event, will be here with us, and will also be at the festivities at 6:30 across the way. But we do want to, the only way that we're getting the message through on California Indian issues, on education, on missing and murdered Indigenous women, on Public Law 280 and policing of Indian reservations is something that we've continued to work on. And so without the support of the tribal communities and the support of our legislature and the support of leadership in both houses, we couldn't do these things that we do by tackling and changing names of universities that carried names that brought atrocities and genocide towards Indian people in the state of California by bringing a monument to these grounds here in Sacramento that will be put up here by November, that would be a direct honoring of the Miwok Nisga'a people from this area, that will be able to tell the story about who we truly are as California Indian people. And to make sure that when we talk about safety, that domestic violence on Indian reservations that surpasses those statistics of others, that we have true champions standing side by side with us to ensure that everybody is safe. But today is about educating legislators and those that are here about the culture, about who we truly are. And with that, I would like to thank my colleagues for being here and standing with us on these issues, but also standing with us to hear from the people themselves as we start to move forward within the discussion and the presentation. So at this time, I would like to thank everybody for being here. And I know if I opened it up for legislators to speak, we might be here a long time. But I do want to acknowledge each and every one of you. And at this time, we could take our seats. Thank you. Thank you, brother. You do all right. Yeah, everyone will speak. Our first presentation and discussion on the agenda will be the Tuolumne Band of Miwok Indians, led by Carlos. We've known each other for many years, and we'll call Carlos up now to introduce the Tuolumne Miwok dancers. But what you see here today in the different presentations shouldn't be lost that it's just a one-day event. We've known each other now for years, going to different areas and talking about our culture and history. And I want to acknowledge Senator Wilk, who's here in the audience also. Oh, you are? Yeah. So just talk a little bit, and then bring the singers up. Oh yeah, the good stuff on there. Yeah. You good? Need water? No, I'm good. All right. Hello. How you doing today? Yeah, it's a little warm. You know, we come from the mountains, and it's a little cooler up there. You know, jump in the creek, jump in the water, and you know that's home. We come from the land of the soap roots, Sakanimut. And once again, being introduced to this young fellow right here and all the amazing things he's done, and really just motivates myself as an individual from Tuolumne Reservation. One of the things that we like to speak on all the time is just that collaboration of people coming together makes things really good, make your heart feel good. Rushki Kuchim, you know, just seeing all the people that come together and all the young people growing up, and you know, they just had good doings just like last weekend over at Yosemite. And then we just came back, good seeing Stan, just came back from San Ynez Chumash over there. They had a language conference, Breath of Life and Living Language Circle. And so it never stops. The learning never stops. Uncle Marvin tells me, even as a young man, 47 going in 18, he says at the age of 80 years old, you'll still be learning. And I always take that to heart, and I always take that to my mind and my whole body and my whole existence as an individual of this land, from the people. You know, these are cousins down here, you know, where we come down and visit. And we know that it's a very strong place. A lot of medicine down here, a lot of waterways, a lot of people travel through here, you know. And we even got people as far as the Bay Area that came up into our area of Sakanimut, land of the soap root. But they call me Soap Puppet, Soap Puppet, and that's a guy that brings the dancers together, brings the people together. In this case, I have a lot of people working, a lot of people going to school, getting ready for school, you know, and summer jobs, this and that. So we weren't able to bring down dancers today, but we do have singers. And like I keep mentioning, where I come from, very proud of where I come from, as a language speaker and as a language teacher at Sakanimut. We have a new place, you know, because of Poshkaluti Sakano and Na'achawo at Hei, the great lung illness of 2019.
some funding came through, and we were very blessed and humbled to get a new education center up there called Hayapo Yemete Mu. It's the feature leader's place. So every day the kids get up there, even though it's summertime, they still come in and learn. And we teach them the language of Liwa or Miwok, which is our language. And tell them every day, Katu Liwa Miwok. And I tell them, Nuna se Omali, which means say it in your language, always and forever. And always ask them something in the language, and sometimes they respond, sometimes they get embarrassed. But there's no reason to get embarrassed, because this language is a part of us. It's a part of our DNA. It's a part of our culture, our whole existence as a Native person. I don't mention Native American too much, because the Native people were here before America was. And I don't get political too much either, but I just speak from my mind and my heart, like the elders taught me to be and to carry myself in a certain way, but respectful way. I respect all walks of life, and that's what makes me a pretty good guy, because from a neutral standpoint, you know, my job in this world, in this life, my existence on Wale Atoll, the Earth's place, is to just continue to educate and to share that language, to share that culture, show them songs and dances that are healing songs, get rid of a lot of ailments within our bodies and our minds, and any bad spirits, send them down the river, you know, just like old riggins that you don't like. But, you know, 1910, we were relocated. Of course, my family comes from our next door to Kasoi Monono and Molpiso, which is Murphy's area, Calaveras side, and then relocated into Vallecito. And I tell this story all the time because our last name was Casus. And they said, wait a second here, you can't have the last name of Casus because it's too much like another name. And so the rancher took us in and he named us Domingo. And that was the name that he gave us because we didn't speak English. We only speak Miwok, our language. So then we got relocated into 1910, the homeless reservation of Sakanimut, Tuolumne Reservation. And there's reservations nearest to us, like the Chicken Ranchum right below us, Sachumo Koyoltumo, which is right below us. Right down the river is Chacachino, another village site where they had a lot of dances down there. A lot of our cultural existences down there. A lot of beautiful songs and dances are down there still. And to this day, as the wind blows, just like they say, the elders flow, the Hoyates, the wind comes through here and gives us what we need so we could do what we need to do for the day. Lutshe, just like that sun comes up every day and gives us life and gives us breath. This is the most important thing that I could say, because, you know, I wouldn't be here if Grandfather Creator, you know, the ancient ones, Amayachi, Papaja, Papayachi, Mikol, Wilotakma, I thank them every day, grandmothers and grandfathers, allow me to be here today and get down here safe. So, you know, a lot of things came through, gold rush, this and that, you know. And we have a casino, but it's not a deciding factor of who we are as a people. It is a great resource, though. It does help us do what we need to do. And so, you know, once again, I just feel really good to be here today and just share a couple of words with you, and just words that come from the heart, you know. And so I'm going to have my brothers come up here and sing some songs for you guys, if that's all right with you. And you know, sing some good songs for you guys, and I hope you guys like them, so we can sing some songs. All right, we need them. Just a little bit. Hey, a little talk. Hey. All right, we don't need the microphone. Hey. We might turn this one on, though. So right here, just like you mentioned earlier, we got my Coast Miwok brother from Grayton Rancheria here, Carlos Merlin. And we got my brother here ever since we was, you know, when we was late bloomers, we started singing and dancing at 7 years old. Brown Tad Shu, he's passed on since then. Early 90s, he was our teacher, and still we continue on sharing them songs and dances. We got a Hayaposhu Jack Bailey songs we're going to be sharing with you guys. And we got our tribal treasurer right here, Lauren Ford. He's been dancing as soon as that guy could walk. Hey. And then we got Cousin Petey over here, cousin across the creek, around the river, over the hill. That guy's been with us for a minute too. Say, hey, we'll claim him. Hey. And we get and then me, of course. Hey, here we go. Come up here, yes. I don't think we get any reverb, huh? Start it off. Sing for
You will have to lock away. You will have to lock away. You will have your lay. 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 You will have to lock away. You will have to lock away. You will have your lay. 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 You will have to lock away. You will have to lock away. You will have your lay. Makotonayo elekenayo, makotonayo elekenayo, makotonayo elekenayo, makotonayo elekenayo, makotonayo elekenayo, makotonayo elekenayo, higitena tebanene, higitena tebanene, anani horo enoi, makotonayo elekenayo, 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 higitena tebanene, higitena tebanene, anani horo enoi, makotonayo elekenayo, makotonayo elekenayo.
Okay, come on.
Yeah, yeah, oh, totonem. Yeah, yeah, oh, totonem. 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 Yeah,
You're the one that makes it snow. Hey.
Will you? Forgot for a second.
Oh, don't do too many spins. Anyways, thank you guys for allowing us to share this song with you guys, and stay cool. Hey, Miko, we'll talk more. Oh, thank you, sir.
Let's give him another round of applause there. Sharing culture and stories and history, factual history. At this time, we'll have Chairwoman Regina Cuellar introduce the Shingle Springs traditional dancers.
Good evening, everybody. Again, just thank you, everybody, for being here, and I hope you guys have a great night. And I'd like to take this time to introduce my tribe, the Shingle Springs Band of Miwok Indian Dancers. Thank you.
You okay?
Hoo-yah!
yo, he, yo, yo, hey, yo, yo, he, yo, yo, hey, yo, yo, he, yo, yo, hey, yo, yo, he, yo, yo, hey, yo,
So again, we just want to thank everybody. I see, standing up here, I see a lot of people, a lot of my family. And I'm from Wilton. This is my nephew, he's from Ione, but we come from a village called Kumeyaay, and that's out of Auburn. But when I look around all these people and all these families around here and who started this, Bill Franklin was a big part of that. And our family was singing to him a long time ago. So, as we sit here and we sit in this village system, it's called Tuolumne. And, we're here with our Nissan Pei Wanana family. And so, again, we're just here to dance and to share a little bit of us. And we're going to send our boys and girls home. But again, thank you. And very honored to be here. Oh, awesome. Hey.
Let's give them another round of applause there. We also want to acknowledge Josh Lowenthal, Assembly member, being here with us today, and Esmeralda Soria, Assembly member Villa Pudua, Assembly member Juan Carrillo, Assemblywoman Pilar Savio, also Assembly member Reyes, Assembly member Lee. Together at the legislature as the caucus, we continue to work on bills that brings factual accounts about who we are as California Indian people. And just here you've seen the traditional dance from the area right here. But what you didn't see was a drum that's being used that a lot of people try to Pan-Americanize the Indian culture and language all into one. But here you're seeing firsthand the true history and the true songs from the area. At this time, I'd like to bring up Mary Tarango to share some words.
As I said earlier, Kujiatu, good evening, Onyxe. Good evening to all my relations. Thank you for being here tonight. Let's say a big oh for everything that's happening tonight. Oh, that's how we say thank you and yay. I didn't hear that. That was weak. All right. Much better, much better. I know we got voices out there. Don't be shy. Anyway, I was going to give you a 10-minute version of creation as to our people, the Miwok, the Miwok people, whether you spell it M-E-W-K, M-E-W-O-K, M-I-W-U-K, M-I-W-O-K, we're all okay because we are people. But I'm going to shorten it up, and just to give you a little bit of taste of, from where our people come, from where the many bands of our people come, from the Oyambele, the Mountain Diablo. And there's a lot of history, a lot of medicine that's tied to that place. And I say that in a very strong way because it's probably the only mountain that you can see even when the smog is bad. So, there's a lot of good medicine and a lot of our people that came from that area. In the beginning, there was a huge bird of vulture kind whose name was Molok, or Moloku, which is the California condor or eagle. And as it was shared earlier, our wing brother, the eagle. His home was on the mountain called Oyambele, Mount Diablo, where he can look out over the world, westerly over San Francisco Bay and the Great Ocean, easterly over the Tules and the broad, flat Joaquin Valley. Covers a lot of area from the ocean up to the foothills, down through Yosemite, down through the foothills where our Tuolumne brothers and sisters come from. Every morning, Molok went out to hunt, and every evening he came back to roost on a large rock on the east side of the mountain. One morning he noticed that something was the matter with the rock, but did not know what the trouble was or what to do for it. So he went off to consult the doctors. The doctors were brothers, two dark, snipe-like little birds who lived on a small creek near the foot of the mountain. He told them that his rock was sick and asked them to go with him and led them to it. When they saw the rock, they said, "The rock is your wife. She's going to give you a child," and added, "We must make a big fire." So then all three set out to gather wood and make this big, humongous fire. They took hold of the rock, tore it loose, rolled it into the fire, and piled more wood on it. When the rock became hot, it burst open with a great noise, and from inside out darted Wek-Wek, the falcon. As he came out, he said, "Wek," and passed out swiftly without stopping. He flew over the country, north, south, east, and west, to see what it was like. And at that time, there were no people. And there were no elderberry trees except a single one far away to the east in the place where the sun gets up. I'm going to stop right there because shorting it here, and I want you to hunger for more, to hear more about our history and what those types of things like the elderberry, what that meant to us as a people, the sweet music that it brought and still brings, as you heard the clappers today, the tocatas, kind of a rhythmic sound. There's a very important story here. And if we had more time, I'd have you all sit on the ground and we'd get all comfortable and cozy and we'd sit down and we'd listen to the story. But what I want to go into right now is the history of our creation, keeping in mind that Molok or Moloku, the condor, Wek-Wek, the falcon, and we're going to find out that there's another important person, grandfather, Olechu or Olete, Coyote Man. And I know that he has a strong presence in a lot of our history as to who we are as a people. And we have to remember that our people at that point in time before the creation of man were our winged brothers, our four-legged brothers and sisters, our waterways, our fish, all of those. That's who we are as a people. And as you know, a lot of our songs, are represented of our winged brothers, our four-legged brothers and sisters, and the fish. So I'm going to jump right into the creation. Don't get sad, because there'll be another time where we can share all of this information. After a while, the world cooled off. So there must have been extreme heat, not only from Father, Son, but as things are warming up right now, we feel that. It's an intensity. And Wekwek came home to Oyambele, Mount Diablo, to see his father Moloch and his grandfather Olete, or Olechu. He said, "Moloch, O father?" And Moloch answered, "What is it, my son?" Wekwek asked, "How can we make Muko, Indian people, or Miwok people, and have them in the country?" His father replied, "I cannot tell you. Ask your grandfather. He can tell you." So Wekwek asked his grandfather, Olete, or Olechu, or Coyote Man, how they were going to make people. Olete answered, "Yeah, no, it will take you a good while to do that. If you're going to do that, you must have a head. If people are coming, you must first put out or provide everything everywhere so they can live. If you want to do this, I will think about it." "I want to see it done," answered Wekwek. "All right," said Olete. "I know how. I must catch the three birds, Chuhu, the turkey buzzard, Koko, the raven, and Aweche, the crow. The only way to catch these birds is to make believe dead." So Wekwek and Olete went out to the plain together, and Olete lay down on the ground and pretended he was dead. Now remember, Olete or Lechu is Coyote Man. He opened his mouth and he let his tongue out and relaxed himself to Chuhu, the buzzard, so that he would think he was dead. He told Wekwek he would call him if he caught the birds, and Wekwek went away. Soon Chuhu, the turkey buzzard, came sailing over and saw the dead Coyote Man, and circled around and lit on the ground beside him. Koko, the raven, and Achu and Awache, the crow, saw Chuhu go down and knew that he had found something to eat. So they too hastened to the place. Just as all three began to eat, Olete suddenly sprang up and caught them. He then called Wekwek to come and told him to pick off the feathers and be careful not to lose a single one. This Wekwek did. He picked all the feathers from the three birds and took them all home. Then he asked grandfather, "What are we going to do next?" "Make people," answered Olete. "All right," said Wekwek. "Do you know how?" "Yes," answered Olete. Wekwek then told Moloch, his father, that they were going to make people. Moloch answered, "All right." Next morning, Olete and Wekwek took the feathers and traveled all over the country. They picked out the places where they wanted Indian villages to be, and in each place they stuck up 3 feathers, one for Chaka, the chief, one for Moyum, the head woman or woman chief, and one for Solatu, the poor. And they gave each place its name, the name it has always had and bears today. The next morning, the 3 feathers at each place stood up and came to life and became Muku, Indian people. This is the way people were made in the beginning, and this is the way all the different rancherias or villages were named. After that, Olete said to Wekwek, "Now we also are going to change. I'm going to be a hunting animal, and you're going to be a hunting bird." So Olete, the Coyote Man, whose form up to his time we do not know, changed to the coyote, a fur-hunting animal, a trickster in our language, and became the first furry animal. And Wekwek, he changed to the falcon, a hunting bird. This is a story of Miwok people and why our relationships with our winged brothers and four-legged brothers and sisters remain today in our songs and dances. A lot of respect and homage and a little bit of wit goes with a lot of our stories that we have as people. So there'll be another time where we'll be able to tell stories, but right now, I know it's a little hot, but I just want you to get a little sense of what that is. Whether you believe or not, this is how our people came to be. So with that, aho, thank you, Como.
So you've seen the traditions from this area right here where we're at, the history. We've also know that with the legislative Native American caucus, senators and assembly members moved forward to push a bill that would bring a monument of a Miwok Nisenan singer, dancer to these grounds that hopefully by November will be put up. So let's give the people from this area a round of applause. We also have with us today a good friend of mine, Chairman Joe James from the Yurok tribe from way up north of California, who continues to work together. And it can't be said enough that representation truly does matter here in the state legislature. Myself and Chairman James have been able to work on pieces of legislation that affect our people, and we're currently working on a bill that deals with CLETs and access for information to ensure that all people are safe here in the state of California. So join me in welcoming up my good friend, Chairman Joe James.
Thank you. Thank you, Assemblymember Ramos. First of all, good evening. Ayakui, Neknau, Joe James. I come from the village of Shregon. Every time we go, we always talk about who you are, where you're from, who's your family. You know, as I was listening here, being proud to be here today, think about everybody that paved the way for myself. Grandfather Jimmy and grandmother Josephine James and mother Rebecca James. But again, it's a truly honor. About 5 hours north from here, a quick little drive. As somebody almost mentioned, the good work that we've all been doing here in California lately. We have been for quite some time, but it's good to wake up, give thanks to the Creator. You know, our culture, our language is our identity, who we are as people. And I always tell my family, my friends, people, we say that all the time. You know what I mean? They look at me, people, sometimes. They go, no, we village, we traditional people, we're prayer people, we're loving people, we care for each other. It's just not Indian people. It's across the board. Again, we try to share that heart. I always taught as a young boy with my cultural. My parents were fluent in our traditional language. I just never grabbed it. But again, as a balance, free your mind, opens up your heart. Give thanks, humble and respect. Again, it's good to be here today to talk about our culture. We're always here when we talk about our culture. You know, at one point in time, they try to take that from us, whether it's through boarding schools or our language, and still to this day, we're going through generations of trauma. And again, we wake up though and balance ourselves as individuals and give thanks. You never know where somebody's at in their life. Smile, say hello, shake their hand, and so as someone almost mentioned, I want to give thanks to his colleagues in the Assembly and the Senate. AB 44, AB 273, it's us and we. Been working on it for quite some time. With all our brothers and sisters throughout the state of California, have been rallying behind that. Looking forward to the next chapter for us and we, our brothers and sisters in the Assembly, Ramos and his colleagues, to continue to that great work to push. It's our oath. It's our job. We as people, it's our job to look after our loved ones. We always look back for us as Yurok up there on the Klamath River as dance and prayer people. Look at the past, present, and future. Always keep that in mind as we continue to move forward. Let me open it up with a song. Thank you. Thank you, Senator Ramos. It's a friend, it's a brother. Continue to look forward to working with you in the state of California. And again, you got to open your heart. You got to feel it. Let the Creator in. I always say that in our ceremony, sitting around the fire. Open your mind, open your heart. Let the Creator in. Let that good medicine in. It's our job to continue to spread that love and that joy. As I mentioned, as us Indian people and our ancestors before us, been through a lot. But again, it's what we do. We wake up every morning to continue to move forward in a balanced and a good way. With that, I want to say thank you. Welcome.
Oh. So this cultural program that now is in its 4th year is a chance to educate legislators from within the halls of the state legislature about who we truly are as California Indian people. You've seen culture and heard history and seen the different traditional dance from this local area. You've heard from Chairman Joe James from the northern parts of California, history and song that he sang, but also deep south, southern, before California was even California and Mexico was Mexico. Indian people would travel those areas. Today they're called Kumeyaay, but Ipai is a traditional name. With us today, talking about Kumeyaay culture and history, with us today is Dr. Stan Rodriguez. Let's give him a round of applause as he makes his way to the podium.
Okay, penya mati pecham. Samanya chohinya makopa wuskonan. Pele helekonya wa wiyupi nya matayom nya pom kanab. Mambe malanya di pa kuslava wiyupi. Nya ketos enya kawakiwik. Wiyupi nya mat Sacramento nya kanap. Bienvenidos a todos, mi nombre es Stan Rodríguez, yo soy Ipai Kumeyaay de la Reserva Santa Isabel en San Diego y ahorita son muy felices porque nosotros estamos aquí. Diferentes tribus, todo el estado está aquí por representar. Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Stan Rodriguez. I'm an Ipai Kumeyaay from the San Isabel Reservation, one of the 12 federally recognized Kumeyaay tribes in San Diego, and part of the Kumeyaay Nation. Our border has been cut, our traditional territory has been cut in half by the international border. Half of our people are in Baja California, Mexico. And pass and repass has been an issue for our people. A lot of people don't realize, but California has more cultural diversity than any other place in the world aside from Papua New Guinea. Hundreds of different languages are spoken here. You can go 5 miles one way, speak a different language. 20 miles another way, speak a different language. This is the way of our people. Our people, to speak 5 or 6 languages was considered the norm. Our people have endured 3 waves of encroachment. First, the Spaniards who came. September 27, 1542. Juan Cabrillo Rodriguez, no relation to me. He came into San Diego. He stayed for 5 days. They did this big, pageant, where they would have some people dressed like him, land on a boat, and they'd have people dressed up like Kumeyays, walk over to him and genuflect in front of him and the Spanish flag and the cross. That's not what happened. What really happened is our people attacked them, shot some of them up with arrows because they were encroaching in our territory. They finally left, and the Chumash finished the job. Our people are warrior people. When we talk about what has happened, 1769, when they came again to put the missions, many people were impacted by it, but our people continued to resist. Then the Mexican era, our people still continue to resist. The Kumeyaay people almost ran the Mexicans out of San Diego. They were on the coast by Point Loma waiting for a boat to take them out. Then the American-Mexican War took place. And the only battle that took place in California from the Mexican-American War took place in San Diego. It was a 2-day battle. Who won? Who is a historian here? You're all looking at me like how I looked at my teacher when I was in school. Actually, the Mexicans won that battle, but they lost the war. And when the first governor came, Lieutenant Governor Barnett, he's the one that created bonds to fund militias to exterminate Native people. In his inauguration address, he said the battle between the red man and the white man will continue until all Indians are gone. We're talking a Holocaust of unimaginable proportions. Whole nations up here were annihilated. Ladies and gentlemen, you here today, you are the survivors of a genocide, of a Holocaust. You survived. Your forefathers survived this. And it didn't stop there. The boarding schools, they wanted to erase our language. Remember I told you we have more language and cultural diversity here in California than any other place in the world. A lot of languages have gone dormant. With the Kumeyaay people, there's 28 of us who still speak the language. It wasn't until the Freedom of American Indian Religion Act was passed August 11, 1978, that we have the same protection as everybody else does in the country. And they still fought it until 1993. So if you can do the math, it's only been 30 years that we have had protection. But you know what? When I see these dancers, when I see these singers come out, sing our traditional songs, do our traditional dances, that, ladies and gentlemen, is an act of resistance. Our life, our living here is an act of resistance. And just because we have few people who still speak the language, that does not mean that it cannot be reversed. Kumeyaay Community College, California Indian Nations College, California Tribal College, DQ University, the 4 tribal colleges are working on developing education programs that teach our history, our culture, our language. Because we are survivors and we thrive. And to show you that this can be changed. Nyapam nyai cha ma nevela nyakanap mamle maran. Nyapam kanap ya panya ma pe kwema.
Hauka I Penyama, Priscilla Wineshui, Ishkona Makupai, Nipum Washnai Makupai. At Church Kumeyaay Community College, Nipum Ethni Hapoki by Stan Rodriguez. Nyaya Cheshi Lakui, Nipugnachish Nyapi, Nipum Penyama Nyamit, Nipum Nipenyama Spear. Maacha na Akakui, Wicho Ipenyama Pi, Terchet Spear, Mathal Spear, Nipum Hiltekamu Spear, Nyachish Yehan. Hello, everybody. My name is Priscilla Ortiz. I am from the Ipai Nation of Santa Isabel, and I'm also a descendant of the Rincon Band from the Palmquitcham Nation. I work at Kumeyaay Community College, and I'm the language apprentice to Stan Rodriguez. I'm really happy to be here with all these fellow Indigenous peoples. I ask Creator to make our spirits, our minds, and our bodies strong to continue the work that we do today. Yechen.
Before I shut my snoot, I just wanted to sing a song. So, this is a tin can. Now, are some of you from Morongo? Who's from Morongo? Anybody here? All right. I remember the Pablo brothers back in the late 70s, early 80s. They used to sing Quanish with a tin can. You remember back in the day when we were young. But this is Tipai. And what happened was, the reason why we used tin cans, we used to use turtle shells. But around 1911, the turtles were dying out. And our people did not want to kill the rest of them. We wanted to give them a chance to survive. So what did they have on the reservations? Commodities. So we started making our rattles out of commodity cans. This is how we do it. But with our people, a rattle, and I know Assemblymember Ramos, you're a singer. In our way, when a boy hits puberty, he gets married to that rattle, that halma, because he gets married to the religion, to the culture. It comes before anything. And with that, it takes care of him. So this song, and thank you for sharing a little bit about your creation story. We have our creation story. It takes a while to tell. But I want to say, there's this one part of the creation story. It talks about this great snake that was bent on destroying everything. Its blood was gold, its spit was silver, and its urine went into the Pacific Ocean and wanted to destroy everything. Well, this young man, he got swallowed by the snake, and he cut himself out, grabbed the snake by the tail, and flung him up north, and it froze. And it was said if the snake ever defrosted, it would wreak havoc upon the world. Okay, global warming. I won't say any more. May the Creator watch over all of you in your minds, in your hearts, in your bodies. Watch over your communities, everything that you're doing in this place at this time. Continue to walk that path that is correct, that is a good path, that is a true path. And until we see each other again, oh, Haile, thank you.
Let's give him another round of applause there. And I just want to recognize Assemblymember Juan Alanis, who's here also with us today. But we've seen a lot of culture demonstrations and hearing parts of the history. And still, there's still a lot of work to do. Here with us now is from the Tribal Youth Committee, because it's important to hear from our youth about the issues that they're facing. And it is similar to the issues that we faced when we were growing up. And then my niece, Lorena Baldwin, that's here. I messed up on her name earlier, so I tried to make it up. But it's a voice that still needs to resonate. As we're currently the only California Indian person elected in the state legislature, we have to pave the way for others to get elected. So what you're hearing around with the music and the history isn't something that's just said and forgotten about. It's inside each and every one of us as we sing songs and remember our elders. With that, I'd like to turn it over to Raven Casas.
Hamin Tamsh, Nittawan Archout. Hello, my name is Raven. I'm a youth advocate and a citizen of the Samuel Band of Mission Indians. I want to thank the California Native American Caucus for inviting me to return this year, as we continue to raise awareness about Indigenous people. I also want to thank my tribe's effort in encouraging our youth to engage themselves in knowing the core values of tribal culture, sovereignty, and unity. It has been over 4 years now that I have been working to raise awareness about missing murdered Indigenous people. I have testified at hearings, stood with tribal leaders from across our state, worked with our local coroner's office, and organized a 5K walk and run just held a few months ago. I remain being passionate about a voice for the voiceless by uniting with tribal youth to advocate and gain support to move both legislation and awareness on this issue. In this past year, great strides have been made in our united legislative work concerning sovereignty and safety for Indian country, but there is still so much more work to do. I would like to say thank you to the legislators who have stood with us as we continue to unite around the good work of justice. With the passage of the California Indian Education Act less than a year ago, there has been an active effort to engage with tribes and increase cultural awareness in the classroom. To see this work begin in my life is historic. To know that students in my school will begin to increase their understanding about the tribes in our state is deeply personal and meaningful. As tribal youth, we understand our role in the preservation of our culture and carrying our identity as a people for generations to come. Our Serrano language revitalization program has been a significant approach on preserving our language, honoring our ancestors as we learn and practice our language, customs, and traditions. Our ancestors were stripped of our language during the United States assimilation efforts, and very few left with its purity. Our language program was launched more than a decade ago and is successfully rebuilding the expertise of our language to maintain the vital resource that makes us who we are as a people. I am the future of my tribe. I will remain committed to the honorable work of not only sustaining our tribe, but contributing to the overall success of Indian country. I stand here today knowing that I'm not alone. I know that we are better together, and together we can accomplish every goal before us. As I close, I leave you with one thing today. Cultural preservation is in the hands of the people. We are seeing the positive impacts of each other's efforts that is being made. Let's continue to great work of building awareness, leaning on one another, and providing a hand up with an open heart. Thank you.
Good job. And that really is the voice of the youth, not just from the people of Samuel, but also our youth throughout all the different nations represented here. I'm going to share with you some songs from our area. Serrano song, Bighorn Sheep song, and then Kumeyaay bird songs. And when we sing the Kumeyaay bird songs, If those that are out here would like to join in, they're more than welcome, and then to dance. But what you've heard from each speaker, the songs that are being sung, isn't just something that's here because of the day. This is stuff that's ingrained in us. When we talk about missing and murdered Indigenous women, Indigenous persons, it's not something new to our people. It's been happening during the colonizational period, and it still goes on today. California now sits as a number fifth state of unsolved and uninvestigated murders against Native American people. Our legislature is working together to bring some type of laws there with AB 44 with access to CLETs for tribal nations to provide public safety. We also know that the history, many of the history that you heard here today, doesn't reach the history books in our local regions. You've heard here from the speakers that talked about relocation from their ancestral territory to another place. We need to get to a point to where California is open to hearing about the true history and many times the dark history that needs to be told in our classrooms, to talk about our local people. In San Bernardino, we've been running a program at Cal State San Bernardino for over 20 years. And still to this day, there's people that don't even acknowledge or believe that a 32-day battle took place in the San Bernardino Mountains in 1866 to rid the mountains of Indian people. That's when our clan, Yohaviatam clan, dwindled down to less than 30 members, almost wiped off the earth. Yet that's not being taught. As a matter of fact, it gets challenged whether it's true and valid. These are issues that we need to work together as a caucus and as people in the state of California to bring the true history forward. History and breaking down misconceptions. You've seen the different dances and culture being shared here today. A lot of people within the educational system try to paint all Indian people into one Pan-Americanism idea of what we should look like, what we should sing, and what we should say. But what you've seen here today is deep Southern with Kumeyaay Ipais coming forward. Southern California, Serrano, Kumeyaay going to be able to sing these songs I'll sing for you. And Central here, Sacramento, Miwok, Nisenan people sharing their culture. And far north to the Eureka, the California-Oregon border with the Yuroks. And the message is clear that it's not about history. We're still here, sharing our culture, sharing who we are, teaching our young people to be that voice moving forward. You've seen it with the dancers. You've seen it with Raven speaking. It's time that the state of California and the caucus, Native American Legislative Caucus, continues to move pieces of legislation forward. The things that we talk about isn't something that's forgotten about at night. We live these things, and it's part of who we are. Growing up on an Indian reservation, we've seen these obstacles that still face the majority of California Indian people, let alone at higher rates to Indian nations, Indian people. When you talk about alcohol, when you talk about homelessness, when we talk about the need for mental health resources, let's make sure that the Indian people, California's first people, aren't lost in that equation. When we talk about housing, let's make sure that it's true housing for all people in the state of California, that California's first people become a first thought rather than an afterthought. That's what it's about here today, to share with you our culture and to share these songs. I'm going to share with you, again, the songs that we sing from our area. The drum is pretty much foreign. We use elderberry flutes, hoofs of animals, and we learn from elders, the Kumeyaay bird songs from Mr. Robert Levi, and the bighorn sheep songs from Mr. Ernest Siva. So let's give them a round of applause. And they still lived, so they knew that it wasn't factual what they were telling them. And she also got chastised, and she says it, that one of the padre that was involved in that St. Boniface had her remove her shirt, and he hit her. That's the treatment towards our people. And when we talk about representation truly does matter. It truly does for our people to tackle those issues. And I know each and every one of us has our own story of what drove us to knock on those doors and get to where we are. But it's together as a people of the state of California, the diversity, that when we stand side by side each other, that we're going to start to make the change here in the state of California. I'm going to sing Bighorn Sheep song and then a gathering song, and you'll hear in that gathering song the word Yohaviatham, but this song is a Bighorn Sheep song, and it talks about the bighorn sheep searching for the bighorn sheep. You'll hear pa in Serrano. Yohaviatham Serrano is the bighorn sheep. The Naiva is searching. Pa the Naiva, 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 Patanaiva, 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 And we'll sing some Kumeyaay bird songs, and then we'll go into the next area, 15th and Al Cafeteria. Elders taught these songs to share with people and to talk about who we are. And as I share these Kumeyaay bird songs, if those want to get up and dance, they could come up forward. Those that might have a rattle, come forward. Those that might know the songs, just stand with me. But these songs are ancient songs, and these are songs that we're going to sing. One is about the morning dove that talks in the morning. All of us could hear the morning dove wherever we're at in the morning if you're up. And that's this first song that we're going to sing. Emelo, ya emelo, emachayela. 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 Emelo, ya emelo, ya emelo, ya emelo, emachayela. Emelo, ya emelo, emachayela. Emelo, ya emelo, emachayela. Emelo, ya emelo, ya emelo, ya emelo, emachayela. Emelo, ya emelo, emachayela. Emelo, ya emelo, emachayela. Emelo, ya emelo emaela emelo ya emelo emaela emelo ya emelo emaela emelo ya emelo ya emelo ya emelo emaela emelo ya emelo emaela emelo ya emelo emaela emelo ya emelo ya emelo ya emelo emaela emelo ya emelo emaela Yeah. That's the Morning Dove, and this next song is a song that we've been, myself, Robert Levi taught it to us, and we've been teaching, at schools about who we are. This song's about the hummingbird and how it goes and gets the nourishment from the flower, from the nectar. And Tuchil is the hummingbird, Mayaka, awele is going in and out, getting the nectar. This particular song talks about the older hummingbird that takes its time getting as much nourishment as it can. There's another song that talks about a faster hummingbird, but it goes in more or less just keeping the other birds from trying to get anything and doesn't really get nourishment. So these songs are meant for teaching us, but also for us to hand down to next generations. And you'll hear this in this song. Oh, Chaltoche, Maya Kahawele, Maya Kahawele, 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 Tocha toche, tocha toche, tocha toche, tocha toche, Maya Kahawele, Maya Kahawele, tocha toche, tocha toche, Maya Kahawele, Maya Kahawele, tocha toche, tocha toche, tocha toche, tocha toche, Maya Kahawele, Maya Kahawele, 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 tocha toche, tocha toche, tocha toche, tocha toche, Maya Kahawele, Maya Kahawele, tocha toche, tocha toche, Maya Kahawele, Maya Kahawele, tocha toche, tocha toche, tocha toche, tocha toche, Maya Kahawele, Maya Kahawele, 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 tocha toche, tocha toche, tocha toche, tocha toche, Maya Kahawele, Maya Kahawele, I'm so, And as you see, just here in this short period of time, we were able to educate about who we are And we couldn't do it without the support of the Native American Legislative Caucus and the members that we mentioned earlier. And I see Sabrina Cervantes, good friend and a select committee member on our area, and as well as Board of Equalization Chairman Antonio Vasquez here also. So coming together and learning about who we are as California's first people paves the way for stronger pieces of legislation of correct history, talking about when they tried to use assimilation policies to strip us, but we're still here singing our traditional songs because of the resiliency of our ancestors and those that were up on these mics and those standing in front of us. It's not about when we talk about genocide and Holocaust, it's not about we were defeated. We're still here sharing our culture, the resiliency of our ancestors that are still calling out from the grounds, tell them who we truly are as California Indian people. That's why we're here today. That's why we push these pieces of legislation. That's why we stand together to honor our elders. I want to thank you all for coming to this event.
Yeah.